What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cinema Conscious. I'm your host, Cody, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 favorite directors and my top 5 favorite movies from each director. Now, everybody has their own taste in movies, not in music, and everybody is going to have a different opinion. Like I always say, this is just my list. So, however you think this list should go, let me know down in the comments, and we can get a little conversation started. All right, so with that, let's go on ahead and jump right into my honorable mention. And the only reason that he's a mention and not part of the top 5 is because I haven't seen enough of his movies. I've seen 3. And that is Taika Waititi. Now, he broke through to mainstream American success with Thor Ragnarok. It was the 3rd Thor movie in the 18th or 17th, something like that, MCU movie. And it really revitalized that trilogy and that character. And, it went from dark, somber, strictly Norse talk with a little bit of humor thrown in because, in the first Thor movie, Chris Hemsworth's Thor was basically a fish out of water. And in the 3rd one, though, he's kind of realized enough about human culture to really sort of understand what's going on. And it's a really good movie. I really dig it. He's also done What We Do in the Shadows, which is amazing. That is one of my absolute favorite comedy movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest going to watch it because it is about 4 vampires who are roommates, and it's incredibly funny. Anywho, with that, he more recently though he did Jojo Rabbit, and that was basically Hitler Youth Goes to Summer Camp, and it's absolutely hilarious. I strongly suggest going to watch that one as well. Basically, if it's got Taika Waititi's name attached to it, go watch it. He's also directing an episode of The Mandalorian next season. So, anyway, with that, let's go on ahead and get started with my list. So, my number 5 director of all time is Christopher Nolan. Now, Christopher Nolan has been around for ages. He did a little bit of work in the 90s and the early 2000s, but he really broke through with the Dark Knight trilogy. That's where everybody knows him from. That's just a little bit of background on him. I am going to go through my 5 now with him, or from him. So, my number 5 is Inception, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Cillian Murphy. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. The movie's basically a giant mind game. Everybody's got their own opinion on it. Was the top still spinning? Is the top Leonardo DiCaprio's character's totem? Let me know what you think down in the comments if you want. It's a good movie. Hans Zimmer does great work with the score. I think everybody should go watch that one. And my number 4 movie from Mr. Nolan is Interstellar. Matthew McConaughey plays an astronaut, goes around the universe, unexplored areas of the universe where time is, very different than it is here. Like on one planet, an hour on the planet is 7 years on Earth or something like that. So it's definitely one of those but it also looks really good in 4K. So that's was my big draw to it, was to watch it in 4K because it looked amazing. It looks amazing. It did not look amazing. It does look amazing. Number 3, the one that really got everybody's attention, The Dark Knight. Yes, I know, controversial opinion, but The Dark Knight is great. I said that in I think my first video on my top 10 movies of all time. Dark Knight is great. Heath Ledger is great. Christian Bale's great. It just doesn't quite completely do it for me. Now, I do think that had Heath Ledger not passed away unexpectedly right after his final film, during his final film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, I really think that the trilogy would have been incredibly different. But I still think The Dark Knight is great, and I wish that Heath Ledger had not passed away, as I'm sure most of you do. But it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it and you like comic book movies, then shame. I definitely think everybody needs to see The Dark Knight at least once. And if you can, watch it on 4K Blu-ray because it is number 2 for my Christopher Nolan top 5 is Memento. It's got Guy Pearce in it. Joe, he was the lieutenant in Bad Boys and Cypher in The Matrix. Joe something or other. Carrie-Anne Moss, another Matrix alum. Basically, Guy Pearce doesn't remember anything, had something traumatic happen to him, lost his memory. He's got short-term memory loss, so he can only remember, not very long before he forgets everything. So he's just covered himself in tattoos to remind himself of everything, and it's another one of them cinematic goodies. And as I'm sure it will be no surprise to anybody who's watched all my movies, my number 1 Christopher Nolan movie is The Dark Knight Rises. Tom Hardy did great. Gary Oldman, one of my favorite actors, also outstanding job as Commissioner Gordon. Christian Bale finalizing his time with The Dark Knight in fashion. Really good, really dark, really gritty. Still pretty outstanding. All right, coming in at my number 4 director of all time is Steven Spielberg, and I can with 100% certainty say that this man has made at least one movie that everybody likes. That's it. He's been around for ages. Frequent collaborator with George Lucas, so he's got Star Wars ties and all that jazz, and he really he has been a very, very, very necessary director for ages and ages and ages. He's been around since the 70s, maybe even the 60s for all I know, but definitely worth giving him your time. And here are 5 movies of his that I think everybody should see. So number 5 is Schindler's List. It's got Liam Neeson playing a German sympathizer of the Jews during World War II. And is based on a true story, I believe. And he, the character, the man in which Liam Neeson is portraying, wound up saving something like 1,000 Jews throughout World War II. So, I mean, he's actually a very good person. But the movie is like, it'll hit you right in the gut. It really will. It's still a great movie, but it's one of those like, wow, tearful. The number 4 movie is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, I must admit, I haven't seen this movie in quite some time. However, it is one of my absolute favorite Spielberg movies. Aliens Come to Earth. There you go. There's more to it than that, but like I said, I haven't seen it in a while. I just remember whenever I was a kid and watching it, like all the colors just blew my mind and all that jazz. I need to watch it again as an adult and see if I still enjoy it as much as I did back then, but we shall see. Maybe that could be a review for me. We'll find out. Number 3 is Jaws. Everybody knows Jaws. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Shark attacks. Group of people try and stop the shark. That's a really, really, really bare bones explanation of the movie, but it's definitely a very, very good, very classic movie, one that anybody who likes movies or claims to like movies should watch. Number 2 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is the Harrison Ford's first foray into Indiana Jones, and man, it's good, but man, that face melting scene at the end really screwed with me as a child. That was very, 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 very creepy. Very good movie though. Very good movie. Don't believe what the Big Bang Theory says. I still 100% think that Indiana Jones's presence does matter. Contrary to what Amy Farrah Fowler said in that show. And my number 1 Spielberg movie is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Alien. God, what a classic. I mean, if you haven't seen E.T., you're doing something wrong. You've got to go see it. Got to go watch it. I prefer watching it on 4K like most things, especially older movies. That's one thing. Everybody thinks that physical media is dead, but like 4K Blu-rays are outstanding, and a lot of something that a lot of people don't realize when, like streaming versus watching on a disc is like, if you're watching on a disc, the video's better, the audio's better. Like Voodoo's great and everything like that, but I mean, a lot of these older movies coming out on 4K look like they should look if they came out today. Like it's out. You should go buy physical media if you like movies. Don't try and stream it. You're not doing yourself any favors. I'll put it that way. E.T.'s great though. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Shame on you again. My third favorite director is Mr. Wes Anderson. He is known, like a lot of these directors, they have their own style and all that jazz. But if a Wes Anderson movie's on, it's a Wes Anderson movie. It's very symmetric. It's very colorful, very flat, colorful, but colorful nonetheless. My number 5 movie for him is the Darjeeling Limited, which is about 3 brothers who go on a trip after their father dies. It's got a couple gut-wrenching scenes in it. I'm not going to spoil anything, but definitely one worth watching. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Put it on here. I have only watched it all the way through while intoxicated, so I should probably watch that one sober. But it was on here. It's got George Clooney. It's got George Clooney in it. He plays the titular character, but it's based on a children's book, so it's pretty good. Claymation, kind of a la Nightmare Before Christmas. So I would definitely consider watching that one, and I will also watch it with a clear mind. Number 3 is Moonrise Kingdom. It's got Edward Norton in it and Bill Murray, the typical Wes Anderson folk. Really good movie. It's about summer camp, kid, young love, that kind of thing. It's really good. Number 2 from Mr. Wes Anderson is the Royal Tenenbaums. Now, this movie has been shrouded in controversy because Gene Hackman was apparently very, very, very difficult to work with, and it has been stated that the only reason that Bill Murray is really in this movie is because he was the only person around that Wes Anderson felt comfortable working with that could keep Gene Hackman in check. So, all that aside, though, it is a good movie. It's just about family struggles and strife that comes with being part of a large family. It's got Ben Stiller and the 2 actors, young actors at that point, who play his sons. Their iconic matching Adidas tracksuits. Very good movie. It's got other people, Luke Wilson, or maybe it's Owen Wilson, or maybe it's both. Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelica Houston, Gene Hackman, as I said, Ben Stiller, as I said. Really good movie. Really, really makes you think about family struggles and all that jazz. And my absolute favorite Wes Anderson movie, it was also my first Criterion Collection purchase, is the Grand Budapest Hotel. And this movie, I was familiar with Wes Anderson, and then I saw this, and I fell in love with Wes Anderson movies. It's about a young boy who, at the beginning, is getting interviewed by Jude Law's character of the author, and he's talking about how he came to own the Grand Budapest Hotel, like early days. His early days, at least. I think at the end of the movie, he's like 80-something years old, and I believe when they flash back, the character of Zero, who is the owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel, is like 16 or something like that. It's a really good movie. It's got Ralph Fiennes in it, Ed Norton again, Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, who always does amazing. Jeff Goldblum, another one of my favorite actors of all time. I would love to have a beer with Jeff Goldblum. I don't know if he drinks or not, but I'd love to sit and have a chat with him. We'll put it that way. Outstanding. Really love Jeff Goldblum. Adrian Brody's in it too. Like it's just one of those. It's another ensemble cast Wes Anderson movie that just has everybody and anybody in it, and I think everybody and anybody should go watch it. It's very good. All right, my second favorite director of all time is Martin Scorsese, and I'm sure I don't know what else I could say about Martin Scorsese. He's legendary. Definitely the guy who is known for his gangster movies. He is. I'm actually gonna make a change to mine here. He is known for. I don't know. He's a very good director. I'll put it that way. Frequent collaborations with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's just, yeah. Martin Scorsese deserves praise. Put it that way. My number 5 favorite movie, and the one that I was going to change, was Taxi Driver, but I wrote this list about 2 weeks ago saying I was going to watch Taxi Driver before I made this video, and I never did. So my number 5 Martin Scorsese movie is Gangs of New York. I believe that's a Martin Scorsese movie. If it's not, let me know in the comments and be nice. But I believe it's a Martin Scorsese movie. Anywho, we'll talk about it anyway. Gangs of New York came out in like 2001, 2002 time frame. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis and I believe Cameron Diaz in it. And it's just about social strife in early New York. It's definitely one that's worth watching. Apologize if you can hear my dog is currently whining right behind me, and I'll try and get through this quickly so you can't hear him very much. My 4th favorite Martin Scorsese movie is The Aviator. Leonardo DiCaprio again plays a pilot who is, I believe, trying to break the sound barrier. Once again, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I do remember being fascinated by Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. And yeah, that's another one everybody should go see, and I should probably freshen up on. My 3rd favorite movie, there's a lot of Leonardo DiCaprio movies on this list. 3rd favorite movie by Martin Scorsese is The Wolf of Wall Street, and that it's without a doubt, I think, Martin Scorsese at his funniest, I'll put it that way. It's and Leonardo DiCaprio probably at his funniest as well. It's Margot Robbie is in this movie and she is outstanding. Leo's outstanding. Jonah Hill taking a break from just like the funny fat friend. Actually, he really didn't, but Jonah Hill did really good in this movie as well. It's just the opening bit where like Leo goes into his morning routine and how many drugs he takes throughout the day is like up there with like best opening like scenes in a movie. It's very good. My number 2 favorite Scorsese film is The Departed. Also has Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It's another one of those ensemble casts. It's got Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen. Who else? Oh, Jack Nicholson. How could I forget Jack Nicholson? Mobster movie. And just outstanding. Leo plays an undercover cop trying to figure out who the mole is. I'm not going to name who the mole is because, it's actually revealed pretty early in the movie, but, I don't want to spoil anything. And it's worth a watch. A lot of very sudden things happen in this movie. Very sudden deaths. Yeah, go watch it. It takes place in Boston, so everybody's got their Boston accents, kind of like the Boondock Saints, but maybe just a little bit better. I think Matt Damon's Boston accent is a little bit more enjoyable and authentic than say Norman Reedus's. No offense to Mr. Reedus. And my number 1 Scorsese film is Goodfellas, and I believe this will also come as no surprise considering I think my last video had 2 Goodfellas scenes in it. But Goodfellas is great. It's another awesome mobster movie from Martin Scorsese. It's got Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro. Pretty much if you've seen more than The Godfather and Goodfellas, if you've seen more than just those 2 mob movies, it's got everybody that's been in all of those movies. Very there's a lot of, oh, that guy looks familiar. Oh, I know who that guy is. Oh, he was in this. A lot of those character actors in this movie. Definitely good. Definitely good. I've talked about it in my last movie, but it's basically about the rise and fall of a gangster named Henry Hill. True story. It takes him from like 15 to like 60. Not 60. Probably in his 50s. And it's very good. Very good. All right, moving on to my absolute favorite director of all time. Probably will come as no surprise to anybody who's watched my other 3 videos, but that is Mr. Quentin Tarantino. Much like Wes Anderson, when you're watching a Tarantino film, you know it's a Tarantino film. There are just certain things that he does that a lot of other directors can't do or can't pull off properly. And we're going to go through my 5 favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, and I'm going to try not to talk your ear off while I'm going through these. All right, number 5 is Reservoir Dogs. It was his first movie that he ever directed. All-star cast. Again, a lot of these have all-star casts in it, but you have Steve Buscemi, Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel, Chris Penn, Quentin Tarantino himself, Michael Madsen, like so many, Lawrence Tierney, and I forget who plays Mr. Brown. So many people though, and this movie deserves the praise that it gets. It's very gritty. I'll never be able to listen to Steelers Wheel Stuck in the Middle with You the same after viewing it several times, even though that is without a doubt one of my favorite uses of music in a movie ever. Not too gory. There's one torture scene in the movie, and it's a little but it's not overly graphic. It's not like Saw or anything like that. Definitely worth watching. It's about a bank robbery gone wrong, or a diamond heist gone wrong, or something like that. And it's very good. Very good. Very it laid the foundation for Quentin Tarantino isms to be in movies. Number 4, my Quentin Tarantino favorite list of all time is Django Unchained. Added, Christoph Waltz is in it, Jamie Foxx is in it, Quentin Tarantino plays a small part in it again. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Calvin Candy, and Sam Jackson comes back as his, for lack of a better word, house slave, Steven. And basically the movie is as this. Christoph Waltz buys Django. It takes place in like 10 years or 4 years. It's before the Civil War, so slavery is still running rampant in the South. But basically, Christoph Waltz, his character, King Schultz, buys Django from these slave dealers at the beginning of the movie, and then they go through, like, Christoph Waltz is a bounty hunter, so he teaches Django how to be a bounty hunter, and they go through finding the bounties, and really the original deal was that Django would help King find these 3 brothers who are just real bastards, and then at that point he would be a free man. Like, once they killed the 3 brothers, he would be a free man, and then he sticks with them, and they go off and find Django's wife, who's now owned by Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and chaos ensues and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely a good movie. It's shrouded in controversy, like most of Quentin Tarantino's movies are. But I mean, if you can look through that and like find the meaning in what he was saying and why he said it and how he said it, it really opens up the movie to like a much deeper meaning. Anyway, my 3rd favorite Tarantino film is a double feature, but I only did that because technically it's one movie in most people's eyes, and that is Kill Bill. It's got frequent Tarantino collaborator Uma Thurman playing a former assassin who had an assassination attempt. That's a key word there, attempt, on her life right before her wedding. She got out, tried to make good, got pregnant, tried to be a good person again, and it didn't work. Definitely, if you can spare like 4.5 hours, definitely suggest watching this back to back, or within like a day of each other, because they're both great. It's Tarantino's love letter to Akira Kurosawa and other famous Japanese directors. It's definitely like a samurai style kung fu-y movie, and it's very bloody, very very red, very good, very good. It's got Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox, Michael Madsen, David Carradine, who like this revitalized his career until he unfortunately passed away in like 2011 or 12, I think. Daryl Hannah is in it, and she does great. She plays a one-eyed assassin. But it's definitely not raunchy. It's definitely like a pretty gory love letter to Japanese filmmaking. Definitely worth watching. Like I said, though, strongly suggest watching it back to back. Second favorite Tarantino movie, Inglourious Basterds. This movie is. I saw this movie like right after. Right after. Actually, not right after. A few months after Air Force Basic Training, this movie came out, and I went and saw it. And it's about killing Nazis in World War II and finding Jews in World War II. It's definitely got both sides of the coin there, which I appreciate a fair shake like that. I love this movie. It's outstanding. Not Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad Pitt is very good in this movie. He plays Lieutenant Aldo Raine. Christoph Waltz broke through American audiences and won our hearts as the gloriously played Colonel Hans Landa. He is like the scene stealer in this movie. And I didn't realize until recently, like, the people in this movie are all like very prolific, very famous actors in their own countries. Like Diane Kruger is huge in Germany, and the girl that plays Shoshana, I forget her name, but she's like huge in France. And so is the guy that plays Pierre Lapadite, the dairy farmer at the beginning. Like they're both very very famous European actors. Well, an actor and an actress. Very good. Very good. Go watch this movie. I would almost say go watch this more than my number one pick, but I feel like everybody ever needs to watch my number one pick. And while we're talking about it, my number one pick is Pulp Fiction. And this should definitely come as no surprise. Pulp Fiction is great because it was unique at the time. And I still see things in this movie that I didn't realize were a thing. Like, I find something new every time I watch it, and it's just outstanding. Non-linear storytelling. It's got John Travolta's career revitalization until he sank that ship with Battlefield Earth because, go Scientology. And it's got Sam Jackson, Tim Roth for a little bit. Bruce Willis is in it. He plays a boxer. There's a lot of lingo in this movie that I didn't know actually had, like, no shit meaning. Like, palooka, which is... basically a boxer who purposefully throws the fight. Didn't know that until this last viewing a couple months ago. Ving Rhames is in it. Uma Thurman, another frequent Tarantino collaborator, is in it. Basically, this movie is cool. It's all you need to know. If you don't mind a little bit of gore and some slightly over the top cursing, definitely think you would like this movie. And even if you do mind that, I still think everybody should see this movie at least once. It's definitely one of the best. It's definitely one of the best. Anyway, with that, those are my 5 favorite directors, 6 if you count my honorable mention, and my 5 favorite movies from those directors. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to throw your 5 favorite directors, or you can do a 3 and 3, like 3 favorite directors, 3 favorite movies from them. If you want to do that in the comments, feel free to be my guest. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Cinema Conscious. Starting to rack up the followers over there, but there's never too many. I try to post there regularly, at least a couple times throughout the week. So, feel free to follow over there as well. You can get an update on collection buys or anything like that. But with that, I've been Cody, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Later.